This is Ruth Kakias with SportsTalkFlorida.com here at the Explorer Stadium as the Orlando City Lions took on Sporting Kansas City. Fortunate for the Lions, they were able to shut out Kansas City in a 1-0 win as Tesho Ekadeli scored his 9th MLS regular season goal in the 20th minute. Tesho now holds the most goal scorers for all players for the Orlando City Lions. The Lions will be on the road in Minnesota on the 17th and will not be back at home until the 23rd of August against Atlanta United. So make sure to get your tickets now and come support our Orlando City Lions. This is Ruth Kakias with SportsTalkFlorida.com.
Orlando City head coach James O'Connor will let coach give an opening statement, then we'll go to the floor to questions. James, whenever you're ready.
I'll try and catch my breath after that, huh? I think, look, it wasn't pretty. I think for us it was, we had some passages that you think, okay, yeah, first half not bad. Couple of little passages, nice goal, some good chances, first half. Second half just became a complete game of transition, and it became pure heart. I think you could see both teams, to be honest, the humidity played a huge factor in the game tonight. I think you could see both teams were really impacted by the humidity, and that's when you need the character and the heart to be able to push through. And that's the one massive credit I can give the players is the heart and the commitment that they show to dig in and to push through, because it was very tough conditions tonight.
Start with Julia, then Mike, then Michael.
Coach, with Tesho's goal tonight, he takes the lead as the leading goal scorer for the team. What have you seen from him this season that's just allowed him to excel so much on the attack?
A lot, to be honest. I mean, the big attraction for us when we looked at Tesho was he's a team guy, I think, and players like that, for me, I place great value on players that put the team first, and you get performances like that when you need to dig in. You've got people who dig in. He's also got tremendous quality. I think his finishing is underrated. I think he's someone that is very capable of scoring goals, whether he plays left of the front three, whether he plays central of the front three. I think he's an ability to score goals. I'm delighted for him because he's a great young man. He's a credit to his family, the way he handles himself and how hard he works.
Go ahead, Mike. Just slide down, Mike.
James, obviously you just said that it wasn't a pretty performance, or you said at this point of the season, are you just looking at just kind of grinding out these victories instead of kind of just looking at the performance that you want it to be?
Yeah, look, I think the biggest thing is that I think because you always want the perfect performance, regardless of whether you win. I think you're always looking and thinking, okay, but where can we be better? I think that's my biggest thing, is you're always looking, and I think the massive encouraging sign for us as a club is we've not played well tonight. We won the game, which is great. At this stage of the season, we needed 3 points. There's a load of positives that we can point to. I think we've equalled the clean sheets the club have had, so we're one away from setting a record. So hopefully we can go and do that. So there's multiple things through the course of the season you can point to, but we want to get into the playoffs, so we needed 3 points tonight, and that's a massive 3 points for us.
Go ahead, Mike.
James, you had your goal, you had the team defending well, but I'm sure you would like to have seen a little bit more possession in that second half. What was Sporting doing that was giving the team so much trouble at keeping the ball?
To be honest, it was nothing to do with Sporting. That's no disrespect to them. I think it was just the game was wide open. I think we just had guys that were. We spoke at half time about the importance of trying to keep the ball and your first pass being your best pass. And I think there was too often in the second half, especially the first pass we didn't get off to one of our guys. We just gave it away, and it was a knock-on effect. They would then counter us, get in behind, get a corner. They would manage the corner, manage the transition. But also, when you look at the chances we've had first half, we've had some, good chances. So I would argue that they've had a couple at the end there as well, good chances. But again, for us, you need to take those chances. But I think the game just was wide open second half, and that was, I think, largely down to the factor of the humidity. I think you look at just both sets of players, how they were as regards the humidity, and they're trying to push, they're trying to give everything to try to get something. You're more caught between, well, do we hold on and do we try to attack? And I think that's something we've been speaking about is once we score a goal. And first half I thought we did a good job of once we scored of then going and attacking and not trying to sort of sit back. And I think that's more of a confidence thing that we've had this year is when you have the lead, can you go and see it out and get over the line? And that's where the guys deserve enormous credit for the commitment and effort that they put in tonight to see it and get the job done.
Go ahead, Chris.
Hey James, any comment on the play with Kyle Smith? And also wanted to ask about the guys seem to be deferring to Nani quite a bit in the back half to start the play going forward. Is that a plan or is that a tendency that's starting to happen because of his skill?
I think first half, when the keeper came out and hit him, my initial reaction was, it looked like a foul. And I said it to the fourth official, and he said there was nothing really in it. But then Kyle ends up with whatever it is, 6 stitches or whatever he's got on the side of his face. So it's like I haven't seen it again. I just saw the initial impact, and it looked like there was something. Now I genuinely need to see it again to be able to make a comment on that. As regards Nani, we wanted to give him the freedom to be able to create overload. So I think for us, it's if he drops into that deeper position, then somebody else needs to take his position higher up. And I think Yuri and Carlos did a really good job of managing the central area, and then Nani, when he did get on the ball, we needed to get people in the pocket or people in space. And I thought we did at times, but for what we want, we need to get way more movement and then better ball retention. That's for sure.
Go ahead, Juliet. We're gonna do a couple more guys.
On the defensive end, especially in the second half, really saw Johnson stepping up, making some big clearances, especially in transition. What are you kind of seeing from him as he's continuing in that center back role?
He's been outstanding. I think when you look at Robin, I mean his understanding of the game, his ability to read the game, his quality on the ball. He's been, for me, he's been one of the outstanding defenders in the league since he's arrived. I thought the main, and I thought, to be fair, the back four, Shane O'Neill coming on and doing a job for us at right back. When you consider what happened to us at right back, so Shane, Kamal, Robin all deserve enormous credit, but it's hard to single one individual out when you get that level of effort and the hard running from the guys to D in like that. I think the positive is they did all those things, but we certainly want to play a little bit better than that.
Go Michael. Mike will close shop.
James, obviously Dom's struggling a little bit this year, had that really good chance in the first half. How do you keep him positive, and how do you keep him going after it and just keeping that mindset and keep throwing him out there and just let him work his way through it, or what do you do?
I think the biggest thing for Dom is if he's not getting any chances, I think that's if you're a coach or you're a striker and you're not getting any chances, I think then you're looking and you're going, well, hang on a second. I think he's had good chances, and what will happen is he'll get one, and then the dam will burst. He'll get a load, and I think you see it loads of times. So I think for him, it's trying to manage the frustration probably, and just keep believing and just hit the target. I think that's the biggest thing for him. But I thought his effort tonight was very, very good. I think a lot of people will not see the statistics of the endurance that he's put in tonight and Nani. And I think when you look at the effort that they put in off the ball to try to make it difficult for Kansas and then to transition into those areas, I think it'll just be a matter of time before he gets one.
Go ahead, Michael.
Coach, you're starting to see a lot more of Carlos Vasquez. You kind of praised him during that Dallas win today. He got forward and got that assist for Teshua Kandele. Just kind of curious to know, when you see a guy like Carlos Vasquez, who's mostly supposed to be in the central, but he manages to kind of go up, is that literally direction that you're giving him, or is that just the decisions that he's kind of making on his own?
Yeah, I think it's the biggest thing that we keep encouraging the players is when you see space is to understand that a big part of the philosophy that we want is spatial awareness. And I think when you see a hole, then move into it, and then somebody else has to react off that. And I think the movement for the goal was excellent. It's a great example of that. And you see a pocket and you take it up, and then if you don't receive the ball, then move, and somebody else can fill that hole. So I think it's part of something that we've spoke about, but again, it shows you his intelligence to see the space and then the execution to be able to then deliver a quality pass like that. So it was the goal was very pleasing. The clean sheet is especially pleasing. The win is great, and we just need to rest and recovery now and move on to another tough game on Saturday against Minnesota.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We have questions for Teshua Kandele.
Sure, come over this way. There you go, perfect.
Tesha, You know, the team gets the win, a shutout at home, all of that's good. Are you happy with the way the team played tonight?
I think I'm happy we won. You know, do I think we played the best we could have? No, but that's kind of like the mark of a good team. I think sometimes you play good, sometimes you don't, but good teams find a way to win. That's what we did today, and that's what's most important.
Tesha, you stepped up as the leading goal scorer now on the team. Kind of what do you think being here in Orlando, what's allowed you to kind of flourish on the attacking end this year?
I mean, there's a lot of things. I think I've kind of been asked a similar question a few times this year. It's just so many things. Like the coaching staff believes in me a lot. My teammates have been providing me great crosses. I think just the opportunity to be on the field more often. There's just a combination of a lot of things, and you know, me taking advantage of my chances.
When you kind of look at this year for you personally, you just had a baby not too long ago. You moved into a new city after being several years in Dallas. It seems like everything's kind of going right for you at the moment. I mean, do you kind of just take advantage of these opportunities as soon as they come?
Yeah, it has been a really crazy year, but like all in a good way. I think it's going to be one of those times. Like, you know, they talk about the good old days. Like, I feel like I'm in the good old days, you know, so I need to like really live in the moment and enjoy this time, and that's what I'm doing.
Especially the goal that you scored, it looked like maybe Dom took some of the defenders away from you, gave you space, and a good ball from Carlos. What was the view of it from your perspective?
Yeah, I saw Dom make a good like hard run into the box, and I saw some space kind of just around the six. And I thought, you know, if I move there and the ball comes to me, I could score. And I don't even think Carlos looked. He just put the ball into a good area, and you know, I was there. I was able to finish it. But like you said, Dom took 2 or 3 defenders away with him, which led to the goal.
As a fellow striker, how do you, Dom hasn't been able to get on that scoring sheet for quite a while, but as a striker, how do you kind of deal with that and kind of push him to kind of not lose sight on?
I think he's creating lots of chances though, which is kind of the most important thing, because sometimes your finishing is on, sometimes it's not, but it's more worrying if you're not creating chances. I think he's creating a lot of chances every time he's on the field, and he's also become like somewhat of a provider this year. I think he's got a decent amount of assists already, so you know, he's finding other ways to affect the game, and he's just working really hard off the ball. So even though he hasn't been scoring, I don't think anybody's concerned, because he's doing all the other things correct, and the goals will come.
This is the second time in the recent run of games when you've been able to score in the opening 20-ish minutes. How different is it for the team when you're able to take an early lead, and how does that kind of change the mentality?
It's really big, and that's something we talked about, because a few games kind of at the beginning of the year we were going down, especially when we go down early, and it's kind of demoralizing. You're fighting from behind, and then the other team can just kind of bunker in. It's not really a fun game, but playing from ahead is a lot more fun, and it's something that we've really tried to prioritize.
James said that the humidity kind of affected the game. What was it like out there from your perspective?
Yeah, it does affect the game. I was so tired, and just a lot of people get cramps. It's hard to deal with, but I think, you know, our training staff has done a good job of providing us with all kinds of electrolytes and coconut water, different stuff like that to help with the effects. But at the end of the day, you know, everybody's human. So, but the thing is, the away team and the home team are dealing with it, and we probably have the advantage because we're here all the time training in this. We train even hotter, so I think we have the advantage.
Looking ahead to Saturday, James will get to coach against his longtime coach, and it's a former coach here. How much will you guys want to perform for James in a situation like that?
I think, you know, obviously there's a lot of big games for different people in the season, so that game is going to be special for him, but I don't think he would want us to treat it any differently than any other game. We're going to go there, we're going to be focused, and we're going to try to get 3 points.
The team's on a 3-game winning streak, unbeaten streak right now, 8 games left to the season. How do you kind of build on that to kind of finish the season, the regular season strong, push for the playoffs?
Just keep looking one game at a time, you know, that's what we've talked about. Just we need to start putting results together, kind of stringing a few together. So it's good to be on an unbeaten streak, but we need to make sure that continues.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Do one more.
Yeah, right there. You're good.
All right, guys, questions for Shane O'Neill?
Shane, always tough to come in cold off the bench. Kyle goes down, you were called in to play right back. Just what was it like for you out there tonight?
I thought the first half was all right. You know, I thought we had the ball going forward. Felt really good. I felt like I was growing into the game and kind of expressing myself. And then second half was tough. The second half was very tough. You know, they pinned us back. Obviously, Russell is a tough guy to go one against one with, but I think for the most part we did a good job. There was 1 or 2 lapses, and we got away with it. But at the end of the day, the most important thing was getting a win, you know, and we kind of dug it out, really. We just dug it out.
The team's not really conceding many goals at home these days. What
what is it about the team's philosophy at home that has allowed you guys to do that with a number of different back lines?
Just the dedication to kind of getting into our shape, getting into a compact shape, not only top to bottom, but also from a width standpoint. I think we've been a lot more, we've been a lot harder to break down, maybe not as exciting to watch, but definitely more pragmatic, and it's gotten us results, and we're at the cusp, and hopefully we can keep pushing and get over the line.
We've seen a lot of players come in and out of the different outside back positions, Zhao and Kamal coming in and out. What kind of does that rotation and that ability to bring different players in and out of those positions, what does that do for the team?
Well, I mean, I think the manager always speaks about next man up, and I think at the end of the day, obviously I haven't played a whole ton of outside back in my career. I've played some, I've played bits and pieces, but I would say Kamal is probably the same way, but I think you just got to do a job. You got to stay compact, stay with the line, listen to the really experienced guys in the middle. You got Lamine, who's one of the best communicators I've ever played with, and you just got to listen. And at the end of the day, when you're going forward, I think for me personally, you can't get sucked into the transition game because it's enticing to go forward. You want to go forward, but that means you got to go back if you lose the ball. So yeah, it's just finding that balance. But I think it's just guys with that mentality, just wanting to play, wanting to get on the pitch.
And that phrase, that next man up, we've been hearing it a lot from you, from the players, from coach. I mean, how encouraging is it to see the whole team buying into that mentality, and especially at this point of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it's at this stage, it's who we are as a team, really. It's like, it's massive for everyone who's bought into it, and I think guys have genuinely bought into it, not just on the surface. So I think it's very important, and yeah, I mean, I think if we can keep this up, I think we'll have a great shot at making the playoffs. But we just got to keep pushing.
James Satesha talked about the conditions out there on the field tonight had to affect you as much as anybody, since you haven't had a lot of minutes. So what was it like out there for you?
Oh yeah, I mean, it was very tough. Like, I mean, it like you said, I haven't played as much as of late. I had the injury with the concussion. I was out for a couple of weeks, and being tossed in at fullback wasn't easy, but I think the conditions, really you saw in the second half, guys really started to suffer a bit, but I mean, it was the same for them, and I think for us in those moments, we got to realize, hey, if we're suffering, these guys are definitely suffering, and maybe raising the bar just 1 or 2%, I think we could maybe nicked another one, but yeah, it was tough. It was tough out there.
You mentioned that Lamine is a really good communicator. How does that help on nights like tonight when Sporting was really bringing the heat, especially in the second half?
Yeah, I mean, it's humongous, I mean, obviously we just, I think there's a lot of little situations that a guy like him has seen so many times, and you just got to trust his word. Sometimes your instinct might take you one way, but if you hear him kind of telling you something different, it's kind of like, all right, I'll trust what he has to say here. And you look at the results, you look at a night like tonight, and it's been working out. So I mean, it's just a testament to him and his leadership back there.
James, when we were talking about Tasho earlier, called him an ultimate team player. He obviously gets the goal tonight. Kind of, what have you guys seen from him just in his ability to score, his ability to perform for the team so far this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously the goals are huge, but I mean, you see a guy like that, the work rate he puts in, week out, day in, day out, in situations where I'd say 95% of the strikers in the league wouldn't be putting in some type of work that he does, the tracking back. I mean, it's a huge lift, it's a massive lift. Because obviously as a defender, there's times when you're suffering back there, and when a striker does that work for you, it takes so much pressure off you.
All right, guys, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.